What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Brain Waves. Welcome to the show. I kindly ask that you double tap the screen as you come into the building. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I know you all have seen the news. Everyone has been talking about it, but you ain't heard your boy talk about it. So I got to chime in. I have to put my perspectives in the game. I got to make a deposit and make a contribution in the social media streets. So we're here to talk about, you see the cover, you see the thumbnail, Jimmy Kimmel. His show has been pulled off the air after Charlie Kirk comments. And guess what? Content creators are going to be next. See, I said that these things would happen last year, and no one listened to me. I told you this was coming for 2025, and y'all didn't listen. Y'all took me for a joke. You thought my saying of 2025 is the year of the shake up, break up, wake up, make up was just some garbage, something to not take seriously. And now you have seen this entire year has been exactly that. So what we're about to talk about right now is Jimmy Kimmel. And this situation with Jimmy Kimmel is a reminder of the things that you're going to see play out on social media. You see, it hasn't played out on social media yet, but you got a lot of content creators who don't tell the truth. They weaponize their platforms. They speak lies. They speak misinformation. And that's the same thing that got Jimmy Kimmel in trouble. Also, they're insensitive. It's a wrong time for things, and they try to hide, they try to lie, they try to act like they're doing something. Don't think that social media is not going to be the next source of you seeing people get canceled. Don't think it's not going to happen. You heard it first here at Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC. When you start hearing about content creators getting canceled on IG and Facebook and YouTube, whatever other social media platform, you heard it here first at Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC. That's right. Because they're misguiding people, they're lying to people, and these social media platforms don't stand for that. You understand? They just don't stand for that. So with that being said, let's go take a look at the Jimmy Kimmel article, okay?
Disney and the ABC.
We're going to go ahead and play this. We'll go ahead and stop the music, okay? All right, let's take a watch and listen to this. Let's go.
Disney and the ABC network are taking Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely. This follows a controversy over comments the late-night comedian made Monday night about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer and the MAGA movement and their reaction to the assassination. Let's get straight to CNN's chief media affairs correspondent, Brian Stelter. Brian, what is going on?
That's right. This is fast developing this afternoon, Jake, amid pressure from the Trump-aligned FCC. And in the past few minutes, ABC confirmed to CNN that Kimmel's show will be off the air, quote, indefinitely. We have not yet heard from Kimmel or his representatives. That's how quickly this has been developing. But let's back up and look at what Kimmel actually said on the program that has caused controversy. This is from Monday night in his Monday evening monologue. Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said, quote, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. He said in between the finger pointing, there was grieving. Kimmel was expressing what we've heard some other liberals say in recent days, that the motives are unclear and that maybe the suspect in this case was a Republican or was some sort of far-right fringe figure. Of course, there has been a lot of discussion about that in recent days. There's a lot of evidence pointing in other directions about the suspect. But Kimmel was on the air talking about this, making a very serious commentary amid his jokes in his monologue Monday night. Here's where it became interesting earlier today. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, went on a far-right webcast and condemned Kimmel and urged ABC to suspend him. He also talked about possible regulatory punishments of Disney because there are lots of different stations that have licenses with the FCC. Within the past hour, we've heard from a big owner of stations that have affiliations with ABC, a company called Nexstar, saying that they were going to suspend Kimmel's show on their station. So in other words, about 24 stations were refusing to air Kimmel's show tonight as a result of this controversy. And then following word that some of those stations were basically revolting against Kimmel, Disney, the parent company of ABC, decided to yank the show entirely. So that's all we know at the moment. We know that Kimmel will not be on the air tonight or for the foreseeable future because the network says the show has been yanked off the air indefinitely.
Brian, just to take one issue, your interpretation of what Kimmel said, I think, is the one that Brendan Carr had and the one that the individuals at Nexstar have. But what he said specifically was, quote, "The MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it." That can be read in several ways. That could be heard in several ways. It could also be it could also be argued he's saying that what the MAGA gang is doing is just trying to make sure that they don't have any ownership of it, not necessarily that this killer, this horrible person, was part of them. I mean,
I think you're making a very important point.
Yeah,
you're making a very important point. And let's take it a little bit step further. This was all on Monday night. Nobody seemed to notice this yesterday, Jake. This all erupted in the past few hours when the Trump-aligned FCC chairman decided to point at it. Now, I've heard from him in the past few minutes, Brendan Carr, thanking Nexstar for doing the right thing by yanking the show. He has not yet commented on ABC yanking the show altogether across the entire country. But let's remember that when Stephen Colbert's show was canceled over the summer, what did President Trump say? He said, next up will be an even less talented Jimmy Kimmel. It is clear that pro-Trump allies have been trying to target ABC over Kimmel for several weeks now, and tonight they've prevailed.
Yeah, Brian Stelter, thanks so much for that breaking news. Let's go right to the panel. And let me first start by showing, I wondered what was going on earlier today when I saw this pop up on Twitter. This is the...
And what I'm going to do for everyone watching, you're going to get a, what you might call a left perspective. That's what we're watching now. And we'll pull up a right perspective. And I'm going to talk about some things and share some things. Again, make sure y'all hit the like button by double tapping the screen. If you double tap the screen, you won't miss anything on the show. And it allows other people to hear this message, to see the videos. Thank you for double tapping the screen. And thank you for those of you that are also subscribing. Let's go.
The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, on a far-right podcast talking about what Kimmel's comments were. Let's roll that tape.
You know, when you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. Obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you know, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, you know, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at.
Joe, are you comfortable with the FCC playing this role?
I don't think this is a legal issue. I don't think this can be pointed to the FCC or the Trump administration and say, well, this is about them going after Kimmel because of what he said. Personally, I think it's more of a cultural issue. And I got to tell you, look, I'm about as moderate a Republican as you're going to get. I'm from New York. I have not been comfortable watching late night television for 15 years because when you have conservative leanings and you're constantly mocked and you constantly feel like you're doing something wrong, you shut it off. You don't watch it anymore. And then what happens is it's circular. If the host doesn't have that audience, the host doesn't worry about keeping an audience like that. It goes in circles, and at some point, you get things like this where you say things, and that wasn't the full quote. The further quote was that he mocked President Trump for flying the flags at half-staff in remembrance of Charlie Kirk and said it's like grieving of a 4-year-old, as a 4-year-old grieves for a goldfish.
No,
that was the full quote there.
Well, the full quote was, I think he ran the clip of a reporter asking President Trump how he was doing with the death of Charlie Kirk. And President Trump said, I think I'm doing okay. And then he proceeded to talk about the ballroom that was being built on the White House grounds. I think that was the full context. Again, I didn't say any of this. I'm just trying to present as accurate a picture of what did happen. Ellie, this is the FCC commissioner. Right. I don't think we have seen an FCC commissioner this aggressive in our lifetimes. What do you think of it all?
So to the point of whether there's a legal element here, I think Joe's right. Like, the First Amendment says Congress shall make no law, which means you can only enforce the First Amendment against.
I want to comment on something that Jay said. Jay has a comment here in the chat, and he's speaking to someone in the chat by the name of Kim. Now, this conversation is between them, but I want to chime in on it. He says, you do understand these shows have writers. Why didn't the higher up say something before letting the script be approved? Let me make something clear. One of the things, especially with these live recording shows, they're live and then they're recorded and released. One thing about these shows, things are captured in real time. And a lot of times when it comes to these shows, even though they have a script, they have something that they have to follow, they add their freestyling in, they add their improvising in. So the script might say, talk about this particular subject. And the next thing you know, the particular host will talk about that subject, but then they'll go run in a direction with it. And running in a particular direction with something may not be the views that the actual show wanted. And so what I believe is that this show is pre-recorded, but because it got released later, and obviously there are things that you could say should have been reviewed, but a lot of times they're not reviewing things that small, if that makes sense. I don't really want to get into the technical aspects of how it works when pre-recorded live shows are released. But essentially, even though it's a pre-recorded show, it's still equivalent to being live. So when people go live, they could go back and review it. But generally speaking, as long as it checks some initial things, it's going to end up hitting the air. It's very similar as YouTube works as a content creator, right? For example, those of us that are content creators, when we go live on YouTube, we will have to say or show some very key things. I'll put it like this. There has to be some key things that are said and done to trigger the algorithms that would, quote unquote, shut down a live stream while someone's live. What generally happens is you go live and certain things get through the checkpoints. And then after the live becomes a video, then it's being looked at, being reviewed, and then maybe something may come up after the fact. And again, that's maybe. It depends on what it is. So as it relates to these live pre-recorded shows, things get through the cracks. And I'm trying to make a long story short. So the things that Jimmy Kimmel said, hey, it got through the cracks, but he said it, and he got to own it. Anyhow, let's go.
Against the government. So can Jimmy Kimmel sue? No, he can't sue ABC for making a decision to remove him. That's a private entity. But what Donald Trump is doing repeatedly is he's expanding his executive power in two ways. One, I would say, is precedented. That's the traditional stuff. I have more authority to hire and fire executive branch officials. I don't have to respond to Congress, that kind of thing. He's fighting that out in the court. We've seen that before. What's unprecedented, however, is the way Donald Trump is using official power from the FCC on to go after universities, law firms, and media companies that he disagrees with on policy or on politics. That is new. We've not seen that from any president before.
This is actually cancel culture. I mean, that's what this is. The chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brent Carr, added on Benny Johnson's podcast that the broadcasters, including ABC, have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. Elsewhere in the interview, Carr attacked Kimmel as talentless and suggested the late-night comedian's comments displayed some sort of, quote, desperate irrelevance. Is that what we want the FCC chairman to be doing?
It's a very slippery slope, and there's a pattern. We keep talking about it like it's not happening, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again with folks he disagrees with. I'm a Democrat. I'll say what happened to Charlie Kirk is disgusting. We should have a court. If he did it, he should be prosecuted to every extent of the law. We shouldn't have to say that. That's just common sense. But we also should say the First Amendment matters to everybody, whether they agree or they disagree. And I just think that what we're going through right now is unprecedented. It's unseemly. And I think that it's really getting out of hand because it's just happening more and more and more with folks who disagree.
We do have the clip that Jimmy Kimmel said Monday night. Obviously this is not the entire 8 or 9 minute monologue. This is just one clip of it, but this is what he said.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Now, the way that Fox covered what he just said there was Kimmel suggests Kirk assassin was one of the MAGA gang, despite reports of leftist leanings. I don't know that I think that that is an accurate description, but they have the First Amendment to write what they want to write.
The job of the FCC is not to regulate and police content. It's not, do we like this? Does this make us comfortable or uncomfortable? Right. I don't like anything about what Jimmy Kimmel said, frankly. I agree with Joe. I find his comments reprehensible, but it's not the FCC's job to say, do we like this or do we not? And the FCC, of course, is a government actor. And I'm thinking sort of off the top of my head here, but if ABC wanted to fight this, clearly they don't because they've made the decision to dispatch or suspend Jimmy Kimmel. If they wanted to fight this, they might have a basis to go into court the same way that law firms have gone into court, and Harvard, among other universities, have gone into court and said, this is an overextension of government power, of executive power. This violates the First Amendment. And again, they can bring that because the FCC is a government actor, but Jimmy Kimmel cannot do anything against ABC because they're private.
One other thing that the FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr did in that interview with Benny Johnson, who, by the way, has said plenty of things that a lot of people find objectionable, is he suggested actually the exact course of action that happened. He said what could happen is local affiliates could complain to ABC about the content, and then those local affiliates could say they're going to refuse to air Jimmy Kimmel Live. And that's actually what happened. Nexstar, which owns a bunch of ABC affiliates, they were the first ones to say in a statement, and Variety broke this news, we're going to preempt the show. Is there any coming back from this, do you think?
Well, I don't think ABC is canceling him because they're afraid of the FCC. I think they're afraid that they're going to lose whatever audience he has left because that's such an offensive thing he said.
I kind of want to chime in on what this guy just said with this Joseph Marino. Certain things are offensive to certain audiences, okay? Just because it's not offensive to you does not mean it's not offensive to someone else. And you have a responsibility when you're on a platform to conduct your show a certain way. And the things that he's doing and the timing of it is just not cool. Again, I understand some of you may not like Charlie Kirk. You may not rock with him. You may not care. But this is what happens. There's people that do. So when it comes to saying and doing certain things, if it were you, if it were someone you care about, if it was a celebrity, a comedian, a politician that you rock with, then you would have a problem with what's going on. You understand? You would absolutely have a problem. And certain platforms and networks don't want to deal with that problem. You understand? There's just certain problems people don't want to deal with. So when you create problems and you bring problems, a lot of times there's that separation. It's that fallback. Because then everyone will start looking at Disney. Well, Disney's defending Jimmy Kimmel, or Disney's defending this person and that person. And then instead of looking at Disney, we don't get to get it. We don't get to get this situation squared the way it should be. Anyhow, let's finish this because I want to get into another perspective real quick.
As far, look, there's so much media alternatives at this point. So I think the FCC's, the range of authority they have is less and less because there's so many other outlets to reach out to. So if Kimmel wants to reappear somewhere else, he will. I think the point is, though, that, again, when you alienate a part of the population who at some point just stops watching, then you have no incentive to keep whatever left of that audience there is. And then, it just kind of goes down the drain.
Man. All right. So we got this particular, you could say, left-wing perspective on what's going on. One of the things I want to pull up is a right-wing perspective, okay? What you all have to understand is that there are consequences to certain things you say and certain things you do. If you go on your job, for those of you that got a 9 to 5 or whatever schedule you work, and you go up to your supervisor, you go up to your clients, your customers, and you just say any old insensitive thing you want, let's see how that fares out for you. I think y'all know. You just can't do that. And so there's been comedians over the years that have gotten in trouble for things. They have gotten in trouble. Don't think they haven't gotten in trouble. But Jimmy Kimmel decided to keep going with that. And at this particular time and stage that we're in things, I don't think that that was wise. Like, I just don't think it was wise. We have to make wise decisions, and a lot of people are not being respectful. They are disrespecting and then laughing about it like it's not a problem. Listen, it might be funny to you, might be funny to some other people, but that doesn't mean it's funny to the actual person or persons that it applies to. So it's some basic things y'all need to think about before forming a final opinion. But anyhow, I want to go ahead and let me get this on the screen real quick. Hold on. And we will do give me 1 second, y'all. I'm just trying to get through something. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this video pulled up, and we're going to go ahead and go here. Let's see, give me 1 second. And so the video we're looking at is going to be more of a right-wing perspective. What I do is I like to show things that are fair and balanced. You may get right, you may get left. You may get both. It just depends on what it is, but I want to show both. Okay, so let me see. Let's go to about right here. All right, let's see.
None of them believe that.
Do you believe there might be some video days before of people walking that property, looking up, scoping it out?
Absolutely. I think, look, if you're not a student and then suddenly you figure out how to get up on the roof, get to that perfect position, get in the prone position. And again, I want to see all the video of who reacts how, because I can tell you, being there and watching Charlie when he got shot, everybody hit the ground. Everybody hit the ground. There was yelling, screaming, and then a real pause of like, are there going to be more shots? And then the people started running, but not everybody did. There were a couple that were doing something different. We need to know who those people are.
And that video exists, right?
Oh, I think so.
And we have the FBI's way of getting people we don't even know about. Jason, thanks so much. Glad you're okay. I look forward to the next chapter to find out more about the killer and who else is involved. Brian Kilmeade Show. Bobby Barak next.
Hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
I mean, that is Jimmy Kimmel, and it was that monologue that got him a major, put it this way, not every affiliate is owned by ABC. There's other affiliate that owns, I think, 30 affiliates, ABC affiliates called Nexstar owned stations. They listened to that Jimmy Kimmel monologue, and they said, we're not airing him. We're not. We're putting in repeats. We're not airing him. Why? There's a lot more involved in it. I'll play a little bit more of it, but that was the beginning of it. Then ABC decided, they have decided not to air the show indefinitely. So I assume he's done. President Trump could not be happier about it. How do I know? He put it on Truth Social. Bobby Barak joined us now. He covers politics, culture, media, and sports for Outkick. Bobby, this came as a big surprise to me. What about to you?
Yeah, it did, Brian. So Kimmel made those remarks on Monday, and they were willfully inaccurate. There is no evidence that the MAGA gang is responsible for Charlie Kirk's assassination. The Utah governor said that the suspected assassin had leftist ideology. The text message indicate that the killer targeted Kirk over his beliefs. So here you have Kimmel going on air in front of millions of people, blaming it on conservatives and Trump supporters. And I think here's the big takeaway. Kimmel was on air live Tuesday. He did not address those comments. He did not correct it. And by all indications, he had no interest in setting the record straight. And I think that played a big role in his suspension.
So you're saying that this came from Monday? I didn't realize it came from Monday. Okay. Here's more from that. And I think the bigger picture tells a more, just like a heartless misunderstanding. Maybe he just really doesn't know. Charlie Kirk, no joke, was like a son to the president. They saw each other almost, once a week, but sometimes every single day for 6 years, 6.5 years. Then he became a confidant to Don Jr. especially. The first person he met was Eric. So he felt totally comfortable at the Trump Tower or the Oval Office. So Jimmy Kimmel, here's the extended part of this. Cut 17.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
I mean, to me, that tells the story. Number one, it's like walking into a funeral and saying, I don't think the family's upset enough. It's not up to you to judge. And does he not realize that they're no longer laughing at his stuff, they're clapping? So that's like a politician. It's not even comedy. Not only that, it's insensitive. It's tone deaf, not funny.
And see, that's a point that I want to keep reiterating. We heard this point come up so far on both ends. The point of things being insensitive, being tone deaf, and not being funny. Again, some people are laughing, some people think it's funny. But then you got to think, everybody's not going to think it's funny. And when it's a particular time, okay, again, whether you like someone or not, this is not about liking, it's not about preferences, okay? And what people have to understand is, listen, this person named Snowbird says it's a joke, he's a comedian, and they were laughing. Do you understand, Snowbird? There are appropriate times to crack jokes and there are inappropriate times to crack jokes. For example, if you just had a family member that died, especially brutally and violently like Charlie Kirk did, let's just say you had a family member, and then somebody that's right there at the funeral start cracking a joke, talking about how your family member is associated with certain people and did certain things, and they're laughing and hee-hee-ha and hee-hee-ha. And then those people, there's people that are in the funeral home or the service or wherever it is that you have it, and they're laughing at your person that's no longer there. Would you actually stand for that? Would you actually think it's right? What if it was you, for example? What if they were laughing instead of honoring your name? Instead of putting respect on your name, they were making fun of you when you're dead and gone. You got to understand, it's a difference between cracking jokes when somebody's still living and they're still alive. And then you crack jokes when they were brutally and violently murdered. Do y'all understand what just happened? Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck brutally in front of family, in front of friends, in front of everybody. All of those college students are traumatized. Those witnesses are traumatized. That's not funny. I don't care whether you like Charlie Kirk or not. This has nothing to do with liking Charlie Kirk. Let me keep reiterating this. This has nothing to do with liking anyone. You understand? There's a time and place to crack jokes about something. When your first response, especially on a large platform, is to be that disrespectful and insensitive, that Disney don't want to have nothing to do with that. Disney, ABC, all the companies that are involved, they don't want to have a thing to do with that. And quite frankly, if this was on a smaller scale and someone cracked that same joke about your family member or your loved one who was violently, y'all got to remember, violently murdered. You just get sick, get ill, die of natural causes, violently murdered. People are grieving. People are shocked. People are still trying to look for answers. You got the media telling us one thing. You got things in the story that don't make sense. Somebody seems to be behind it. They're saying this and then the facts say something else. At least what they're showing us. And then you got him to crack jokes and get people to laugh. That's equivalent to laughing and mocking at someone's death. And again, no one seems to care until it hits home. Well, guess what? You might not care about Charlie Kirk. You might not care about his family, his wife Erica, his kids. You might not care about anyone else that's associated with him. But if that were you, or your family members, or your friends, or somebody you care about, then it hits home. Then all of a sudden you would get concerned. Then all of a sudden you wouldn't want them to do that. And you got to understand, there's a difference. Listen, people keep saying freedom of speech, freedom of speech. You have a right to go up to your supervisor that you work on the job and laugh at them and crack jokes in front of everybody and say some very derogatory things at a bad time for your supervisor. Let's say it was your supervisor and your supervisor just lost someone that was near and dear to them, to him, to her, or what have you. And you crack jokes and you getting all your coworkers to laugh at your supervisor and laugh at the family and laugh at the supervisor's family member that's no longer living. Could be the husband, could be the wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, baby mama, baby daddy, kid, mama, daddy, sister, auntie. It don't matter. What do you think is going to happen to you on your job? What do you think with HR? And comedians have gotten into a lot of trouble doing that. They believe they can just say and do anything at any time and say, well, it's just comedy. It's just comedy. I can say it. No, we got to be smarter than that. There's a time and place when you can say things. I'll give y'all another example. If you have a leader of a country, a leader of a nation, and they respond to something like that happens with citizens of another nation, and they laugh and they crack jokes and they get the people of their country to laugh at citizens of another country, and they crack jokes, he, ha, ha, ha. What do you think that's going to incite? You think that's going to go over well with the company they're laughing at, that they're making fun of? You think that country is not going to be seen as an act of war? A total blatant act of disrespect? If they don't go to war, at the very least, they're going to be like, okay, all bets are off. What are you doing here? What is going on? And you know what's funny? Jimmy Kimmel still hasn't issued a statement about any of this. Now, you got to stop and think, why has Jimmy Kimmel not issued a statement about this? Seriously, why hasn't Jimmy Kimmel said anything? You know he can say anything. He's got platforms. He's got social media. I mean, his show is already canceled. You can't say that he's going to lose his show. His show has already been canceled. So it's not like if he comes out and makes a statement and says something, he's going to lose his show. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, he had an opportunity to apologize to the Kirk family. And I think it was something else, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to it, but I believe that's what I am understanding. And that he could possibly have his show back. Do you think Jimmy Kimmel did that? Do you think he jumped up to do that? And see, that's what y'all got to understand. A lot of people, they throw shots at you. They throw shade at you. And then they say it's just a joke. I was just joking. No, you meant that. A lot of people say that all the time. They take shots at you. And they be like, haha, I was just joking. It was just a joke. Okay. It was just a joke, huh? Come on, man. Y'all got to wake up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the subplot of all this, is that ABC didn't just take Kimmel off air because his comments were insensitive and factually incorrect. Brian, I believe he was already on the outs because nobody was watching his show. So we know from CBS that Stephen Colbert lost about $40 million a year. Well, he had 30% higher ratings than Kimmel, and Kimmel makes the same $17 million a year as Colbert. So you do that math, Kimmel's show was probably costing ABC a lot of money. And like you said, he's not funny anymore. He comes across as a partisan hack, desperate to try to get the approval of the Hollywood elites. You watch that clip, even if you don't like the president, it wasn't funny. It was corny and
And that's also another point. See, some of y'all saying he cracked a joke, but it wasn't even funny. And it's true, Kimmel's ratings have been down. He ain't funny like he used to, at least as it relates to that. He used to be funny, ha ha ha, he. But his shows, he just keeps talking about the same rhetoric. Every time he's making fun of Trump, he's making fun of the right wing. Anybody that's a Republican, he just going in. Like, it gets old, it gets tired. And the only people that are laughing at it are, you could say the left, Democrats, I don't know, whoever else, but nobody else is laughing at it. And this is why his ratings was dropping, because he kept just focusing on one particular audience. And when you're a comedian, you can't just focus on one particular audience. So what you're seeing with Kimmel is a combination of things that happen. You see, this is not the first time that he's been taking shots, calling it a joke on Republicans. That's what his content is all about. But yet you're supposed to be a comedian, and all you keep doing is ragging on Trump. Okay? And then on top of it, you have the situation that happened with Charlie Kirk. Now, I want to say something. Okay? Look, y'all. It's funny. Let me show you something. Watch this. Let's see if I can pull this up. You got this guy in the chat talking about Jimmy Kimmel's ratings weren't down. Okay, well, let's look at some information. You got Snowbird says his ratings are not down. Trump said it. And see, listen, y'all think that this is about Trump. No, let me show you something. Let's get this on the screen. I got to show y'all what time it is, okay? Y'all got to understand, when it comes to TV, your ratings are everything. Like, if you're not getting the viewership, it's everything. Let's see if I can get this on the screen right here. All right, so we're looking right here. Let's see if I can get that a little bit larger for you. Hold on, let me back it up a little bit so y'all can see how that is. Okay, that's a lot better. Okay, so if you look at the screen, if you look at the top here, you will see that it says Jimmy Kimmel's total viewership has significantly, not just a little bit, significantly declined since 2015. You got to understand, this is not something new. See, you have people in the chat that have agendas. You have people on social media that have agendas. You have people in politics that have agendas. Everybody has agendas, and they're pushing certain rhetoric. They're pushing misinformation. And that's another thing that Jimmy Kimmel did. It was a lot of misinformation on his show. So because he was pushing misinformation just to get a he, a ha, that didn't go well. People start realizing he just trying too hard. Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel's total viewership has significantly declined since 2015, falling from an average of 2.2 million viewers in 2016 to around 1.57 million in 2025. That's this year, and this year is not over, and it's still falling. For a show to lose that many viewers, that's not good. It says, while still remaining a top performer in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic, where he often leads the late night field. Despite the decrease in linear viewers, the show's extensive online presence on platforms like YouTube and TikTok, with over 20 million subscribers, suggests that the audience has shifted rather than disappeared. Now, let me talk about this shift, because this is what I was trying to tell y'all about social media and content creators. Okay, many people this day and age, they focus coming to social media. In fact, a lot of news outlets show everything from social media with their stories. And so what I'm trying to get y'all to understand is that things are shifting. The same thing you see happen with TV, it's going to end up taking place here on social media. You're going to find content creators getting canceled for misinformation, for a lot of other things, being insensitive, etc., etc. Because a lot of people just been on demon time. You know, a lot of people like being on demon time. All right, y'all got to understand this. His ratings have been down. Okay, I don't just talk out of my rear end. I provide the information. You can see the steady decline. You can see in 2015, it was 2.2 million. That was the average. Okay, it maintained in 2016 to 2017. Then in 2018, it went down to 2.1 million. Y'all figure, oh, that's not a big drop. That is. That's a lot of viewers. Okay, then in 2019, it went down to 1.9 million. Then in 2020, it went down to 1.8 million. Remember, this was the time where everybody was locked in during, you know, that time of the year where you had to get these things to keep your job. You know, these things, you had to get 2 of them. So everyone was around watching TV and its ratings were still down. 2021, 1.5 million. You see, I was just going down. And as of 2025, it's still at that 1.57 million. So Jimmy Kimmel's viewership went down basically at the bottom. So between that, losing views, losing rating, and then you put ABC, you put Disney and all of that in a precarious or potentially precarious situation with having to do damage control. Yeah, man. Like, listen, can't move like that.
Cringe and overly partisan, and I think Kimmel has dug his grave long before this latest stint.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way, he takes the whole summer off. Carson used to take a lot of days off too, but took the whole summer off. I know for a couple of people that during the pandemic, Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel did a podcast. I heard from a bunch of people, it was hysterical. They were just fun. They are funny guys. Jon Stewart especially. Look, they are funny. I always thought he was funny when he was on Fox NFL Sunday. Jimmy Kimmel used to do those great videos on Fox NFL Sunday. He's also used to this format. He used to be the sports guy with Adam Carolla in the morning show. I forgot the name, Kevin and Bean over in California. I just missed that part of his career. So I've seen the career. So he's funny, but they lose the sense of humor because Trump actually bent their brains. I mean, for him not to think that this is like a family member and you're mocking him, and that's when the affiliates bowed out. I don't think it was pressure from Brendan Carr of the FCC.
No, I don't either. I see people saying that this is an attack on free speech. First of all, there's a difference between cancel culture and accountability.
See, and that's what a lot of people that's on demon time don't want to take. You see, I've been saying this for a long time. Those of you that have been following me, people got to start taking accountability. My channel's about exposing the truth in current events, life situations, and a lot of people that are on demon time. And when you call these people out, they don't want to take accountability. Look at Jimmy Kimmel right now. Has Jimmy Kimmel issued a statement saying, my bad, oops, my bad, I'm sorry? No, he ain't said a word. He's choosing to stay quiet. Why? Because he's guilty. You see, guilty people stay quiet. He doesn't want more damage to come, because if he says the wrong thing, that's going to look even worse for him. This is deeper than y'all realize, man. This is what I be trying to tell people. And people don't want to take accountability. It's like they want to make excuses. They want to lie. They want to twist things, everything but just owning it, just taking accountability. My bad, I did it. You understand? Right? And let me tell you this. You got somebody called Got Rocks talking about where's the report button for misinformation. Please go ahead and report my channel. You think that's going to stop what I'm doing? Listen, you don't agree with the facts that I'm showing here. I don't care if you don't agree. This is exactly the point that happened to Charlie Kirk. Somebody doesn't agree, and then they want to try to take you out just because you don't agree. Come on now. This is where America has become. This is where the world has become. Go ahead and report my channel. You think this is the first time that somebody's tried to improperly report my channel? Nothing's going to happen. I'm going to tell you why nothing's going to happen. Because I'm not violating YouTube's terms. You understand? I'm not violating the terms. I'm not calling Jimmy Kimmel any crazy names. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not sharing misinformation. You don't like the information that I'm sharing, but it's a difference between liking it and it being misinformation. It's not misinformation. Go ahead and report it. I don't care. YouTube is well aware of people that don't like the content that you put out. They don't like the message that you're doing, just like what happened with Charlie Kirk. This is the same thing that Charlie Kirk went through. He would say certain things, people don't like it, and then they wanted to unalive him. They wanted to take him out. Just like this person talking about, where's the report button? I don't care. Report. Report away. Nobody's stopping you. Go look it up and figure out where the report button is. He my guest. It's not going to stop anything because I'm not violating any YouTube terms of service. Now, speaking of which, and I'm glad this guy actually made that comment, because you have people that be on platforms, that be on television shows. Y'all got to understand, Jimmy Kimmel works for a network. He's not independent. He works for a network. He has to abide by certain rules, and he knows that before he signed the contract. They know what they can joke about and what they can't joke about. They know what's appropriate and inappropriate, and he chose to take the inappropriate route. Now, some of y'all might think it's appropriate, but obviously, to a lot of other people, it's not. And when you say and when you do stuff, you got to think about that. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all got to really understand this. This is deeper than you realize. And this is what's going to end up happening to content creators, because the news and the media get all of their information from content creators. They put all these videos out on social media. The news go report on a story. Guess what comes from social media? Like I said earlier. So you have a lot of social content creators that actually are putting out misinformation. They're spreading lies. They're spreading slander. They're spreading everything that's not factual and actual. Guess what? Those channels at risk right now. Y'all at risk of getting canceled. Y'all at risk of getting shut down, because as we just heard, we saw with Jimmy Kimmel and him having YouTube as a social media backdrop of his television show. That means that these social media networks are intricately tied to what's going on out here. And this is going to be a conversation that you're going to see come up, because a lot of people are aware of the lies, the slander, the misinformation. That's right. And these platforms are going to essentially end up moving forward. Y'all going to see it. Don't listen. You heard it first here at Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC. Don't act like y'all ain't heard it. I'm trying to tell you. I try to let y'all know, and we're going to see what these content creators going to do. But let's play a little bit more of this.
When you are mocking the people grieving and also spreading blatant lies like Kimmel did about the suspected assassin, you're ought to face some level of accountability. But you're right, Brian. I think the reason ABC pulled him so quickly is because Nexstar, which controls 32 ABC affiliates, they preempted him. So not only was this show losing money before, it was set to lose a whole lot more of money after Nexstar made that decision yesterday, not the FCC or Carr's comments. I think this has much more to do with the financial aspect of Kimmel's career and what Nexstar did.
Bobby Barack with us now. You can see him streaming. We are streaming too, and Bobby's got his Zoom up. Here's more from Kimmel, just flat out mocking Trump days after a key member of his team, like a family member, died.
And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible. And they came in, they said, Charlie Kirk is dead. I didn't know what they meant. I said, he was dead. Charlie Kirk was shot. And they thought he was dead because it was so horrific, And I said, dead.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier. Sconces you wouldn't believe. There's something wrong with them. There really is. I mean.
And then Kimmel has the nerve to say that it's something wrong with Trump reacting to finding out the news that Charlie Kirk is dead. He was like, what do you mean he's dead? And the audience and everybody's just laughing at that. That's just like you finding out the news that somebody close to you, near and dear to you, is dead. And then especially when you find out how they died. And then people just laughing. Ha, 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 ha. Y'all think that's cool? That's what y'all want? Because that's what you're saying. If you're okay with how Kimmel reacted and the audience reacted that Kimmel encouraged, then that's what you're saying. That means that you reap what you sow. So that means that if you were ever put in that situation, I don't want to hear no sympathy, I don't want to hear no remarks like people say, it's justice served. Got the karma. That's exactly what you're saying. I tell you, man, the way that people move out here in this world, it's literally, it's pure evil. It's pure evil. What this shows is that people are on demon time. There's no decency. There's no respect. This is why America has fallen. This is why America has fallen. To laugh at somebody reacting to news. When you hear news, you're going to be like, wait, what? You know how you react if someone's like, excuse me, John Doe. Your best friend or, your coworker or, your spouse or your family member or whatever, they're dead. And you go like, wait, what? You go like, what? You're going to be like, what? What do you mean they're dead? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they're dead. And then you got people laughing at that. Man, y'all evil as hell. That's all I got to say. Because if it was you, see, the problem with people is they too busy focusing on, oh, it's Trump. Oh, it's Charlie. Oh, it's that. What if it was you? What if people were laughing at you and your reaction for getting news that somebody died? You think it's funny? Because that's what you're saying. It'll be okay for people to laugh at you. That's what y'all are saying. Listen, y'all too focus on names. Take the names out of it. I'm asking the people in the chat that think it's okay for Kimmel and the audience for them to crack jokes when you get the news that somebody died. Violently at that. What if it was you? What if it was your friend, your spouse, your kids, your parents, your coworker, somebody near and dear to you, and people were laughing at your reaction? Wait, what? You finding out the news on the phone, you find out your news, and people laughing at you, because what you're saying is, I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, people were laughing at me and it wasn't cool. Nah, you don't get to say that. You've canceled yourself out, and you've canceled out your right to even say that. You have, as a matter of fact, encouraged people to laugh at you and make fun at you. Drag you, drag your name, drag your reaction, make fun of you for even saying that Why are they laughing at me? This ain't funny. See, that's what y'all not thinking about. And you know what? I'm not the one that's behaving that way. That's the behavior of those that think that this is okay. That's what they're okaying. They're okaying that behavior. I'm not okaying it. I don't think it's right. It's not right to laugh at anybody and crack jokes, no matter who they are, no matter how good they are, how bad they are when somebody dies. That ain't funny. Y'all think it's funny just to lose lives? I'm telling you, man, it's sick. Ain't no respect, ain't no nothing. You got the entire world paying attention to this. The entire world is looking at how we as Americans are reacting to this situation. And they like, man, them people over there laughing, they think it's funny. You know, other people in other countries don't move like we do in America as it relates to that. You don't see them laughing and mocking when they find out that somebody's dead. Maybe some of y'all got to do some research. I understand a lot of y'all don't do research, but maybe y'all need to do some research and look at how other cultures and other countries respond when people die. But when it comes to here in America, it seems like demon time is okay. Everybody think that being on demon time is fun. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Let me just make this clear. People are going to continue to get canceled. People are going to continue to lose their jobs. You're going to find content creators losing their channels. You're going to start logging on YouTube, logging on Instagram, logging on Facebook, whatever social media platform, and you're going to see that channel no longer exists, or that platform, that particular page or whatever no longer exists on that platform. You're going to find it happen because the same thing's going to end up taking place. You know why? Because nobody's taking this conversation seriously. Shout out to McClure. McClure says, it don't matter if you are white, black, left, or far right. It's wrong. Exactly. It's straight up wrong. I don't care if somebody's right. I don't care if they're wrong. Man, y'all evil as hell. This just shows us how evil people are in this world. They're on demon time. Anybody that thinks that it is funny to mock and laugh and disrespect someone, especially that was brutally and unexpectedly murdered, you think that's funny? Listen, people that think that's funny, you're on demon time. There is nothing you can say and do to justify that. I don't care who it is. And I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people in the chat that agree with me. Because if I put up a poll in this chat, they're going to agree with me. I already know it. I can run a poll and there's going to be more people in here that will agree with me than disagree. You know, anytime you have a poll and you're actually speaking the truth and you got a point, you're going to have people that's just going to deliberately and defiantly try to go against it. Just to try to make you look like you're wrong so they could try to throw it in your face. Ha, we got you, brainwaves. Look, more people said that you wrong than you being right. Come on now. Y'all got to understand. Jimmy Kimmel knows exactly what he was doing. This is why he has not made a statement yet about what happened. You don't think Jimmy Kimmel got anything to say about him getting fired? Why is he quiet? Why is there no statement? Y'all keep trying to say, oh, he's a comedian. Y'all believe that? So being a comedian gives you a right to be disrespectful. Okay. When somebody does that to you, I want you to remember what you said. I want you to remember that. The justification for that other person disrespecting you, we're going to say they're a comedian. That's why they said what they said to you. Remember, you gave a justification in the past to Jimmy Kimmel. And what we're going to say to somebody else, hey, remember, they're a comedian on your job or in your neighborhood or on social media, wherever it is. They're a comedian. That's why they're laughing at you when you lose someone. That's why they're mocking you. So y'all got to be very careful about what's going on because everybody's going to get a turn when it comes to death. You understand? People die every day by numbers. Everybody's going to get a turn. Come on now. Nobody knows when they're going to die. You don't know when. None of us know when, but everybody get a turn. So when it's somebody's turn around you that you care about, remember, when they mock you and they laugh at you, why you crying? Why you acting soft? Why you got a problem with it? Remember, we're going to say the same thing. Oh, those people that saying that, they're just comedians. They think it's funny. See, y'all don't care until it happens to y'all. And that just shows the sad state that we are in America. Because what that means is that people don't care about nobody. They only care about themselves. That's what this says. Let me show you what the scripture says about this. And I showed this earlier, and it seems like I got to show it again. Let's get this on the screen real quick because y'all need to know what time it is. Y'all need to know what time it is. I'm telling you, man, this is absolutely crazy. It's straight up crazy that we actually have to be in this situation. All right, we are looking at 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 2-4. This is how those of you that think it's okay with what Jimmy Kimmel did, this is how you all are actually behaving. Okay? It says in verse 2, for men, we can add ladies, women as well. Men meaning mankind. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. Y'all only care about your own selves. You don't care about Charlie Kirk. You don't care about Miss Erica Kirk. You don't care about the 2 babies that are left. You don't care about no family, no friends. You don't care about the people who witnessed Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck. Y'all don't care nothing about that. You only care about yourselves. It's clear based upon the comments. You only care about yourself. You only care about your perspective. You don't care about your fellow American. And you only care about people that think just like you. This is what the Bible's talking about. It says, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous. Think about how many people are coveting after what somebody else got, whether they say it out loud or it's like secretly within. Boasters. So many people are boasting about what happened, boasting about their stance, boasting about the situation. Proud. It's nothing but pride. You know, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. Everybody's pride. Yeah, they just feeling so proud. Blasphemers. People like to speak blasphemy. People want to drag Charlie Kirk, but they don't got no smoke and nothing to say about Jimmy Kimmel for being insensitive. And others while we're on this subject. Y'all got smoke for one side, but then when the other side do it, you ain't got no smoke. You make justifications and excuses. Y'all turn a blind eye and a deaf ear and act like you have selective hearing all of a sudden. That's how people be doing. Disobedient to parents, and you wonder why these kids so bad. Running around in the hallways all day. In these schools and outside of the schools. You wonder why we see so much issues with the youth. Unthankful. People are unthankful. Unholy. The Bible says they're unholy in verse 2. So when y'all hear me talk about people being on demon time, I'm not just making that up. The Bible literally says that. In verse 3, it says, without natural affection. Y'all don't care. There used to be a time back in, say, maybe even up to like the early 2000s, right before 2010. The 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, so on, so on. People had natural affection for one another. You cared about your fellow man. You cared about your brother. You cared about your sister. You cared about your fellow American. It's like what I was saying earlier. Y'all don't give a damn about nobody but yourselves. And when I say y'all, I'm talking about those that see no problem with what Jimmy Kimmel just did. That's what we're talking about. Listen, without natural affection, truce breakers. Y'all don't want to keep the peace. Y'all want to start wars. Y'all want to start conflict. People think it's funny to laugh at somebody and mock at somebody and kick them while they're down. That's a truce breaker. Everything's supposed to be cool. You're supposed to understand, okay, well, this is a moment of silence. It's a moment where we chill right now. Nah, y'all don't want to do that. Y'all want to break the truce. You got false accusers. Everybody false accusing Charlie Kirk of this, Charlie Kirk of that. Other people support. You got people in the live chat that have been false accusing me this whole time I've been live. saying that this is my stance, saying that this is my take with no proof, no receipts, no nothing. They just making up stuff. This is where we at. False accusers. And bearing false witness is one of the 10 commandments. Incontinent. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. You got people who have no voluntary control, people who lack no self-restraint for the things that they say and they do. They just do it. They ain't got no control. You wonder why people running around out here like animals. No control. You got people that are fierce. Everything that they say is so fierce. Everything that they say is just raw. It seems like everybody on 100. When it comes to relationships, people be on 100. When it comes to what they say, everything just on 100. You like people driving on 100. The situations out here, everything's on 100. When people respond to things, there's no natural affection. They just 100. You got despisers of those that are good. And you wonder why people hate me? You wonder why people hate Charlie Kirk? Hate those that support Charlie Kirk while we're on the subject. You wonder why content creators are making videos right now trying to bash people like me who are actually just trying to stand up for the right thing that we're supposed to be doing. Y'all don't like that. Y'all despise anything that's good. Y'all despise those that are good. Like we had the person earlier, how can I come through and report this channel for misinformation? Go ahead and do it. Do you think I'm losing sleep at night? I'm not. I don't care. Because I'm not violating any YouTube terms. I know this platform very well. I welcome you to go ahead and do it. You think I'm going to lose sleep? You think that's supposed to cancel this video? This is not my first rodeo. This is what I'm talking about. People do that all the time. They despise those that are good. But if I was up here in this live stream, lying to y'all, deceiving y'all, putting out false misinformation, making up stuff so y'all could get a he, a ha, 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 y'all would have nothing to say because y'all love demon time talk. Verse 4 says, traitors. People that you think are in this platform supporting you, they only here to actually drag you. They came in just to drag you, just to start conflict, just to find a way how they can falsely report you. Traitors. They not here because they like the content. They not here because they support the platform. They not hitting the like button. They not subscribing. They don't hit the super chat, the cash apps, the PayPals, the venues, the membership, the Venmos, I'm sorry, the membership. They don't go to the venues. They ain't here to support. They're traitors. They just here to find out something, catch you saying something, try to instigate you to get in a situation so they can have something on you to take you down. Traitors. Backstabbers like the song. They smile in your face. All the time they want to take your place. Backstabbers. They just here to stab you in the back. See if they could take you out. See if they could get rid of you because they jealous because you got a platform. They jealous that you got a voice. They jealous because of how well that you're able to speak and conduct yourselves. And they can't get you out of your mode. There's people in the chat right now that's upset that they can't get me out of frame. Yeah, y'all wish y'all had that power over me, but y'all don't. Y'all don't. I speak the way that I want to speak, how I want to speak, when I want to speak. This is my platform, and I run it as such. But you got people that will do the same thing to you. They try to get you out of your frame. They try to drag you. That's what people be doing. You got people that are heaty. This is crazy, man. Like, you got to stop and think about this. You got people that are intoxicated. They intoxicated off of something. You got people that are high-minded. They think highly of themselves, like too highly. They think they're better than everybody. They think they're more correct, more smart, more this, more that, without the actual proof to back up what they thinking. It's all in their head. You understand? That's what's called high-minded. Your mind is so high that you're not in touch with reality. And again, this is to those who this applies to. This does not apply to everyone. You also have people that are lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. You know, some of those pleasures is laughing and mocking at people's death just because you think it's a comedian and you think it's funny. Think it's funny to poke at people when they're going through human emotions of loss and tragedy? Like I said, what happens if that hits home? You ain't gonna think it's funny then. These are the times that we're in, ladies and gentlemen. And these are the type of people that we're dealing with. You understand? These are the things that we're dealing with. Right? You got people that's just, listen, you got these trolls in the chat, they're desperate. Let me tell you how desperate they are. They have nothing to say, and they have nothing of substance. They bring no substance. They are not contributing to society. They're like the book of Numbers in the Old Testament. They were born, they lived, and then they died. They didn't contribute anything. They didn't make a mark in society. So what they do is they're upset with their own lives. So they try to come up in live chats feeling that they got a place in society. They think that they can actually affect you and bring you down. And so the only thing they can do is call you names. Listen, y'all wasting y'all time. That stuff don't mean nothing to me. And the same people that are doing that will not show you what they look like. I can guarantee you, if we were to see what some of these people in the live chat, for example, that are just resorting to name calling look like, when nobody's even talking to them, nobody's even responding to them, let alone calling them names, let alone being disrespectful, I can pretty much assure you that they don't look like nothing, that they ain't about nothing, that they ain't doing nothing. They're not being a substantial contributor to society. And what they're doing is just trying to cause a bunch of harm. That's what they be doing. And they laugh at things. These are some of the same people that would most likely come unalive you. These are the same type of people that will crash out, just like what happened with Charlie Kirk. They have the Tyler Robinson syndrome, where the only thing they want to do is try to crash out. There's literally tons of people like that in your lives. They're all around you. These people are like all over the place. And you wonder why people are laughing, hee, ha, ha, ha. I'm telling you, man, what you're going to find is they're going to crack down on this on social media. So have your fun. Enjoy it while you can. First of all, a lot of what people are doing when they troll, they don't realize they're violating YouTube's terms of service. YouTube makes it clear that you're not supposed to troll. But y'all try to get away with it anyway, thinking that it's not going to be enforced. The same way that Jimmy Kimmel cracked jokes at an insensitive time, thinking he could get away with it, thinking that nothing's going to be enforced. And what y'all going to see is stuff is starting to be enforced. It's judgment time. Everything is judgment time. After that last lunar eclipse that we had, that blood moon lunar eclipse last, or where was it, earlier this month or whatever? Yeah, man, that was a time marker. It's been years since we had one. It started and now it closed. It's a time marker. The Bible talks about signs and wonders. That's a time marker. Judgment is happening. Ever since that eclipse popped off, boom, all this stuff's been happening. We got to stop moving on demon time and we got to be on righteous time. But you know, the people that get it, y'all already moving accordingly. Y'all already get it. But the people that's on demon time, I mean, hey, it is what it is. They're going to have to learn the hard way. They're going to have to learn the hard way. It's just as simple as that. They're going to have to learn the hard way. Ain't no easy way about it. Ain't no easy way about it. So, hey, listen, y'all. I pretty much said what I needed to say. Y'all know what it is. I could keep going on, but, you know, the point is made. We got to start doing what's right. We call ourselves Americans, but we damn sure ain't acting like it as a whole. We're showing our ass. We're showing our true colors. And I'm talking about those that think things like this is okay. They think that this type of behavior is healthy, that this is not toxic, that it's not wrong. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, man. This is wild. So, hey, with that being said, man, you know, let's have some respect for the Kirk family. You know, let's not kick people while they're down. That's dirty. That's a cheap shot. That's a low blow to kick somebody while they're down, to laugh at somebody when they're down. Respect to Candace Owens. All the people that are associated with Charlie Kirk, people that are understanding and they're going through that this hits home for them. Just have a little respect, man. Ain't nobody say you got to rock with Charlie Kirk, rock with Turning Point USA, rock with any of these people. Nobody's saying anything about rocking with them and supporting them. It's just about a little respect. Even Aretha Franklin said just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of respect. Seems like folks don't even have a little bit of it. So, with that being said, I hope that you have enjoyed this message. Again, to those of you that would like, double tap the screen on your way out. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And shout out to all my new subscribers. I see y'all. I see y'all when y'all come through in the chats. I appreciate y'all. I have a lot of people that watch my channel, so I can't really rock with the chat like I like to. I'm going to have some streams where I can kind of engage more. But shout out to y'all. Shout out to those of you that have been supporting my platform in any way, in any form or fashion. I appreciate y'all. I look forward to seeing those of you that get it and understand. I look forward to seeing you again. So, feel free to come back. I pretty much drop a video daily. You're going to see something. Sometimes I may go a couple of days when I don't, but when I do, I make up for it. I'll do double, triple duty. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my evening, get some rest, chill out, kick it with my family. Hey, savor these moments. Continue to savor the American dream. Don't listen to these people that are miserable. Don't listen to these people that are on demon time. They want to keep you from achieving your American dream. For you to have a family, for you to have homes, for you to have cars, for you to be successful in life, for you to be able to travel, for you to be able to do all the things that you want to do. Don't listen to them. They're going to mock you. They're going to scoff you. Why? Because they're sad. They're miserable. They're on demon time. And that's what they've been sent to do. They have a mission. They have a mission. And it's to try to stop you and take you out. That's how the devil operates. Going around like a roaring lion looking to see who he can devour. That's how these people pop up in the live chat, the comment section. They pop up in your lives. They be in the workplace. They be in places you frequent, things you go. That's what happened to Charlie Kirk. Somebody just want to take him out because they was hating that he had a voice, hating that he had a platform. Nobody say you got to, listen, all you got to do is if you don't like what somebody's saying, don't subscribe to it. Don't watch it and turn it off. But it seems like these demons, these narcissists, the people that are described here in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 2 through 4, it seems like they're obsessed with watching you. They want to be monitoring spirits. They want to hear every word you're saying. They want to watch, like they get off on that. That's demon talk, right? Demons get off on stuff like that. None of this is righteous stuff. And a lot of these people hide behind scriptures. They hide behind the Bible. They claim they this, they claim they that. But when you test their spirits, like 1 John 4:1 says, it says to test the spirit. When you test their spirit, you see who they really about. You see who they really rock with. And it be clear that those type of people be on demon time. So for those of you that get it, stay prayed up. Continue to stay in the word. Continue to go after your dreams. Spend time with your family. Look forward to building a family, your loved ones, whoever you care about. Continue to get out here and get it. Let's accomplish these goals. Let's accomplish these dreams. Let's celebrate with the people that matter to you. And let's just continue to rock on. Yeah, Stinson is right. A lot of anger is going around in the world. A lot of people are angry, just like it says here in 2 Timothy 3, verses 2 through 4. It's like they are so angry, they want to try to make you angry. I tell people this all the time. To those that come to my platform, and you actually think you're going to get me angry, you're wasting my time. Like, y'all are wasting. Y'all have no idea. Y'all have no power over me. I just use y'all as examples for my content. So I appreciate y'all for pulling up because y'all give me content. I can use you as an example when I'm trying to get certain talking points and educational pieces delivered to my audience. So thank y'all for pulling up and helping to add value to my show. But yeah, a lot of people are angry. You got to watch out for that. That Tyler Robinson guy was angry at Charlie Kirk. Listen, they get mad when you speak the truth. Man, listen, when you lie to a person, they ain't got nothing to say. But when you speak the truth, they get pissed off with you. They want to take you out. That's what they did with Christ. Blessed are those who are persecuted for his name's sake. They tried to take Christ out. They be getting pissed. It's crazy, y'all. You can see it right here in the chat. You can see it in other people's live stream. They be getting pissed. They be pissed, y'all. Like, it's crazy. You say one thing, and then they be like fired up mad. That's when you see right here when the scripture's talking about fierce. In verse 3, look, it says right here in verse 3, it says fierce. They become fierce all of a sudden. They be fierce at you. You be like, where's all this coming from? That's how they be in the chat. They get fierce. You know how they get fierce? Because they're triggered by the truth that's spoken. And that's what happened when Charlie Kirk was speaking on things. He was talking about some real topics. People got triggered. People got triggered. I say a lot of things. I talk about a lot of things on my channel. Y'all can go look at my channel. Look at all the videos I got up. I got a lot of different videos and a lot of different subjects. People get pissed when you expose the truth, when you share the truth, when you talk about the truth. It's just like Galatians 4:16. I got it on the screen right now. Have I now become your enemy by telling you the truth? As soon as I start speaking truth on my platform, all the demons come out, all the trolls, all the haters, and the only thing they could do is talk about my appearance. Like that's supposed to bother me. When they scared to show their appearance. Because I could easily roast them. I'm a professional roaster. I can roast people like no tomorrow. See, they ain't going to show their appearance. They're not going to show you. They're going to show you a blank profile, a trolling account with no picture, no info or anything. They think they safe behind it. Like somebody don't know who they is. Like somebody can't find out who they is. Listen, I'm not hiding. I'm right out here. Y'all see my face. I go live so y'all can see who you dealing with. I ain't hiding. But those people, they be hiding. They hide behind fake profiles. They hide because they're scared to show the world who they really are. See, if we saw who these people really are, well, I don't think that they would speak the way that they're speaking. I'm telling you, it's crazy, man. But hey, let me get out of here. I said enough. Again, shout out to all the new people. Shout out to everybody hitting the like button. I see y'all. Just double tap that screen. You get the likes up. I got a lot more content coming. I got a lot more videos about Charlie Kirk and what's going on out here in this situation. Mark my words. You heard it first here at Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC. You're going to find and see that just like how regular people, employees are losing their jobs for talking ill about Charlie Kirk, this only starts with Charlie Kirk. This is going to be a thing going forward. We got to get off of demon time and get on righteous time. And if you on righteous time, you got nothing to be concerned about because you already on righteous time. You ain't got to change up nothing. You just keep moving like you moving. You good. But to all the people on demon time, they got a problem with it. They're the ones that's upset. Why? Because they don't know how to be on righteous time. And they choose not to be on righteous time. It's clear. You're going to see on social media, and you heard it first here at Brainwaves Advice Topics LLC, that social media content creators are going to start losing their channels, losing their platforms. You're going to see that happen for misinformation, for lies, for slander, for all types of rhetoric, for trying to incite race wars and violence. There's a lot of content creators right now on social media trying to incite violence. They want to piss white people off at black people, piss black people off at white people, and all types of stuff. They want to start a race war just so they can eat off of you by making videos on what's happening to you and your experience. They making a video, reacting to it, getting views, getting paid. They not the ones going out there fighting a race war. They not the ones going out there doing anything. And a lot of these people are hypocrites because you won't see any boots on the ground. You will see no accomplishments with the things that they act like they care about and they fight with. Again, they fake, they phony. But you know, people want to listen to them because they like hearing lies. So they don't want to listen to the truth. It's like Galatians 4:16. They consider people like me the enemy. They'll say I'm the enemy. And somebody who's actually the enemy, they'll believe that person is the truth. Man, I tell you. But hey, have an awesome night. Thank y'all for watching. Again, thank y'all for subscribing. Thank y'all for coming through. Yeah, Joanne is right. It's spiritual warfare. Welcome to spiritual warfare. It's good versus evil. That's what we're dealing with right now. So, hey, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings. Enjoy your night, perhaps day, morning. Shout out to everybody that, working the 9 to 5. Shout out to the other content creators out here that's trying to get it, that's trying to do right. Shout out to everybody holding it down. Everybody that understands, everyone that gets it. Have a wonderful night, perhaps day or morning. With that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace.